This is from one of their websites. Judaism 101 is what they titled this page. It asking the question, what is Judaism? So they kind of give you the bullet points here at the top. Judaism has been described as a religion, a race, a culture, and a nation. So you notice that they didn't call any of those. They say that it has been described as these things. Then next they say, all of these descriptions have some validity. The Jewish people are best described as an extended family. So as you can look at it, it's no real definition that they've given us. But let's read some more into what they're saying. What is Judaism? What does it mean to be a Jew? Most people, both the Jewish and Gentile, would instinctively say that Judaism is a religion, and yet there are militant atheists who insist that they are Jews. Is Judaism a race? If you were to say so, most Jews would think you were anti-Semite. We're going to come back to that word anti-Semite and try to talk about what that means. But for their sake, what they're saying is that you're anti a person that's Jewish. You're against Jewish people. But we'll talk about what the real word means and what the real roots are. So they ask, what is Judaism? So if you look there, it's very confusing for them to even explain what Judaism is. So we're going to go to another question. Who is a Jew? So it's telling you a person whose mother is a Jew, or a person who has gone through the formal process of conversion to Judaism. So that's how you become a Jew according to Jewish people today. All right, so T, grab the book for me. Let's open up and let's go to Numbers chapter 1, verse 4. We actually are not going to use the book too much today, but there's a few things I want to tackle. This is Numbers chapter 1, verse 4. So they say that if your mother is a Jew, then that's what defines you as a Jew. So we just want to show that's absolutely contrary to our law.
And with you there shall be a man of every tribe.
A man of every tribe.
Every one head of the house of his fathers.
Every one head of the house of who?
His fathers.
So the way you identified your tribe is by your father. Right? It was never by mother. Right? If you look at all the genealogies that we see in the book, always goes through the father, never the mother. So the mother never, in fact, we actually have a lot of mothers in the book who were not of Israel, but the children were still considered Israel. All right? So it's important for us to know that based off of our book, it's the father that determines what nation you're in. Okay? The next thing that they have here is they say it's important to note that being a Jew has nothing to do with what you believe or what you do. So that just tells you that it's not a religion, right? They said being a Jew has nothing to do with what you believe or what you do, right? A person born to non-Jewish parents who has not undergone the formal process of conversion, but who believes everything that Orthodox Jews believe and observe every law and custom of Judaism is still a non-Jew. Well, that's not our book. If we had a Gentile that came to us, grab Numbers 15. Numbers 15, verse 13. If we had a Gentile that came to us and they wanted to obey our laws, let's see what the book say.
All that are born of the country shall do these things after this manner, in offering made by fire, of a sweet savor unto the Lord. And if a stranger sojourn with you, or whosoever be among you in your generations, and will offer an offering made by fire of a sweet savor unto the Lord, as ye do, he shall do. One ordinance shall be for both, for you of the congregation, and also for the stranger that sojourns with you, an ordinance forever in your generations. As ye are, so shall the stranger be before the Lord.
All right. So he said, as long as they keep the ordinances, that's going to be the same with you and them, then they'll be the same before me as you are. He said, I'm not going to look at them any different. Right? So that's our conversion process. You got to keep the law. It says, even if a Gentile came in and they did all the stuff, they still can't do it unless one of their people come in and make them a Jew however they do it. Right? So this is what they believe today, and this is what we want to do is try to dig into who these people are, how they got here. Okay? So this is a man named Hasdai. Hasdai, the son of Shaprut. All right? He was living at the time of 915 AD to 975 AD. Okay? So that's 1,000 years ago. This is kind of like a synopsis about what we're about to read. So Hasdai is best known for his letter in 960 AD that he sent to the king of the Khazars, a people on the banks of the Volga in Russia who had accepted Judaism, influenced by Jews who migrated from Persia and Babylonia. The Khazars converted to Judaism in the 9th century. Okay, so this is a little part of his letter. In this part, so this is his letter right here. In this part, he opens it up and he identifies himself. And look how unique it is. He says, and this is actual history. This is stuff that's out there. You can go look it up yourself. He said, I, Hasdai, son of Isaac, son of Ezra. You notice he didn't name his moms, right? Son of Ezra, belonging to the exiled Jews of Jerusalem. All right? So he identified himself as coming from the Jews of Jerusalem. So that means he was a physical descendant. Okay? Then he says, in Spain, so he was living in Spain at the time, a servant of my Lord, the king, bow to the earth before thee. So he went on, he greets this king. What he's doing is he's writing to a king because he heard this king had a Jew nation, right? It was a nation of Israelites. And he was looking, because he's a man, he understands the curse that's on this. So he's looking, he's like, it's an Israelite nation out there? He's like, that's unbelievable. So he wrote to him to try to understand. He's like, bless you, you're an Israelite and you're running the nation. So he asked him, what tribe are you from? What's your family? What's your lineage? Thinking that this was the actual Israelite. So the king was honest about it. He comes back, this is the king writing back to him. He says, you asked also in your epistle, the king is writing to Hasdai, you asked also in your epistle of what people, of what family, and of what tribe we are. Know that we are descendants from Japhet. Okay? So we're going to talk about Japhet in a little bit. We are descendants of Japhet through his son, Togarmah. Right? So, grab Genesis chapter 10. It's Genesis chapter 10, verse 1. Again, all the stuff we can go over, I'm only giving you guys verifiable facts. That's it. I'm only giving stuff that you can look up yourself. Not a whole bunch of speculation and all that. I'm giving you stuff that you can look up for yourself, true testimony, things that have been documented, things that have been attested to, things that you can find. Okay?
Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were sons born after the flood.
Who's first?
The sons of Japheth.
So remember, that's who the king of the Khazars, that's who he said he was coming from. He said, I'm a descendant of Japheth. All right? Which is the same as Japheth here.
The sons of Japheth, Gomer and Magog and Madai and Javan. And Tubal and Meshach and Tiras. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz and Riphath.
So hold on, the sons of Gomer is who?
Ashkenaz and Riphath.
So Ashkenaz, if we go back to this page, right, Judaism 101, they'll tell you a type of Jew is an Ashkenazic Jew. Right? We didn't make that up. That's right there in the Bible, right? And it says Ashkenaz. It says it's the son of Japheth. And then it says that his name is Ashkenaz. They had a descendant named Ashkenaz. And they, on their own website, call themselves Ashkenazi Jews. Let's keep going.
And Riphath and Togarmah. And the sons of Javan, Elisha and Tarshish, Kittim and Dodanim. By these were the islands of the Gentiles divided in their lands.
These were the islands of who?
The Gentiles divided in their lands.
So we have it by their own mouth. They're Ashkenazi Jews. And then the book tells us that was the Isles of the Gentiles. Didn't say that they were Jews. Didn't say anything like that. It said that they were Gentiles. Right? So we want to try to understand what's going on. Let's go to Genesis chapter 9, verse 26.
And he said, blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant.
Right? He said, blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. This is, so let's background. This is Noah. He's putting blessings and curses on his sons after an event just happened. All right? So he says, Blessed be the God of Shem. Canaan's going to be his servant. And what's going to happen with Japheth?
God shall enlarge Japheth,
He said, God shall enlarge Japheth,
and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem.
and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem. So remember we talked about anti-Semite briefly. This is where anti-Semite comes from, Shem. So Shem is really anti-Shemite. It's just through English. The word is, the word, some of the sounds got lost. So anti-Shemite just means you're anti a descendant of Shem, right? So Hebrews, Israelites are descendants of Shem. Japheth, Gentiles are descendants of everybody else, but more specifically descendants of Japheth. Okay? So you have the Gentiles and the Ashkenazis and all that are descendants of Japheth. Israelites are descendants of Shem. When they say anti-Semite, they're trying to say you're anti-Jews. But really they are not Jews, they're Ashkenaz by their own mouth. So that's why that word's a little mixed up. But let's try to see, according to the Bible, why that makes a little bit more sense. So it says, God shall enlarge Japheth, he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant, right? It's something very interesting about one of the words in this sentence. That word is enlarge. Okay, so it says, God shall enlarge Japheth. So this word enlarge is actually a Hebrew word pronounced pathah. So the Hebrew word pathah, this is how it's translated in the King James Version. Entice, this is every time it's translated. It's this word pathah that they got enlarge out of is entice 10 times, deceive 8 times, persuade 4 times, flatter 2 times, allure once, enlarge once, and this is the one time here, silly one once, and silly once. So out of all those words, which one seems like it doesn't belong?
The increase.
Enlarge, right? Every one of them you can kind of make a connection. You're silly one, you're gullible. That means it's easy to deceive you or entice you or persuade you or flatter you or allure you. Right? So all of those kind of have like the same kind of meaning, right? The same kind of, they're getting at the same thing. Enlarge doesn't have anything to do with any of those. However, the only time that word is used is this one time here. All right? So if we were to say, instead of saying enlarge, let's say entice. Since that was the most times, that's how it was translated the most time. God shall entice Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. It takes on a brand new meaning at that point. When it says Japheth and Shem, God always recognized the father of the house to represent the people, right? So what it's really saying is God shall deceive the descendants of Japheth, like the Ashkenaz, right? Like the Khazars, the Jewish converts, and he shall dwell in the tents of the descendants of Shem, like the Israelites. So now you see the Jewish people that are in Israel today, those are actually our tents, and they're dwelling in them just according to this prophecy. This is another letter that we have. This is, his name was Moses. He is Moses, the son of Maimon, and he wrote to Obadiah, who was a convert. He was a proselyte, right? The reason why this letter is important because it kind of gives us a hint on how it came about, right? So if we look, it was asked, but he's responding to what Obadiah asked him. So Obadiah was a Gentile who converted to Judaism, or converted to our religion, rather. He said, you ask concerning procedure with regard to the benediction and prayers. When you pray privately or with the congregation, may you say, God of our fathers, who has sanctified us by his commandments, and who has separated and chosen us, given us an inheritance to our fathers, and brought us out of the land of Egypt, and did miracles to our fathers. And all such similar phrases, he says. You must say all of these. So this is, he said, you asked me this question, like, should you say these things? Should you say our Father who's brought us out of Egypt? Because he's the Gentile, so technically he didn't get brought up out of Egypt. So he's saying, you asked me these things, and this is his response. You must say all of these things as they are, right? So just like the way they're written, that's how you have to say them. He says, and you must not change a single word, but just as a born Israelite prays and blesses, so must you pray, also bless and pray whenever you are praying privately or in the cantor of the congregation. So he advised him. This is he's an actual Israelite, and he's advising the gentleman. He's saying, no, you have to say it. You converted now. So he said, you have to say it exactly how it's written. So you can see with this going on, our people being persecuted, as we're going to talk about soon, and you have people brought in that's saying you are an Israelite. You have to present yourself as an Israelite when you pray. You can see how it's very easy for them to take on that identity. It's very easy for them to be enticed into believing that they were actually Israelites, right? With our people being removed and them taking that dominant role, right? And so that's where you can kind of see it happening. This is just evidence to show that this was allowed by our people. Our people actually gave them that. We told them, we advised them to act that way and to be that way. So if we were to fast forward to 1948, that's when the nation of Israel, or the state of Israel that Obama just talked about, that's when that was created. All right, so this is the creation of Israel, 1948. On May 14, 1948, David Ben-Gurion, I guess, the head of the Jewish Agency, proclaimed the establishment of the state of Israel. U.S. President Harry S. Truman recognized the new nation on the exact same day. And from there, we've always been supporters of Israel. All right? So it always has mattered to these people. All right? Now we want to see if it still matters when they find out it's us.